Hello, everyone. I know it's been a long time since I've been live, so I'm going to try to show you a few things and catch up a little bit. All right, I have two people. If you're watching live, tell me where you're watching from. Has been some time since I've been on here. Live, anyway. I've had a lot of recorded videos, and unfortunately, I have a cold, so I'm probably going to keep my chatting to a minimum. But I wanted to share a few things with you. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Okay, so my really good friend Melanie, and I'm going to share one of her cards. She was kind enough to pick up my stuff from Pittsburgh, which I did not get to go to, sadly. But these are some of the items that we got for OnStage, which was really nice of her to do for me. We got the cool hand-drawn dots. This is a background stamp. And I'm going to show you. This is going to be available in the spring catalog, which is not too far away. So a lot of fun stuff in here. There's also the decorative borders. This is a photopolymer stamp set. Brand spanking. And another one that coordinates with a stamp set that we already have. This is called Beautifully Happy. This is another photopolymer stamp set. And this one has some really nice sentiments. This actually is kind of similar to one we have, and I can't think of the name of it right now, and I'm too far to grab it, but two-step stamping, which is nice because you can actually color these in with blends if you wanted to. I really like the sentiments. I love the print and the script together. Really pretty. And move these on the side. This is something else that's apparently going to be in there. I haven't really perused all the rest of the stuff too much. Hi, Sharon, and hi, Patty. So these are loose daisy embellishments. Sometimes it's hard to tell with the embellishments what these look like. These are super tiny. I'm going to get a couple of them out so you can take a peek. What can I put these on to? So you'll be able to see them. They're pretty small, but they're really cute. So those are going to be something new. And I want to look, but I have to look without spoiling it. Let's see if I can get back here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're in a suite. Oh, come on. It said 61, but that must not be accurate. 51. Oh, I need to put my glasses on. So these are part of a really cute suite. I'm sure you've seen pictures of this. It's called Playing in the Rain. It is several different animals with their raincoats or their umbrellas. It's really, really cute. It has a really cool DSP that goes along with it called Rain or Shine. It's 12 by 12. It has a coordinating die set, and then actually has a rain embossing folder, which is adorable. Another thing that's going to be coming in January, and it's only running January to February. We're just having one. I'm sure you've heard. Is Celebration. So for each $50 or $100 you spend, you get to pick something. This is actually a stamp set. These carrots, so cute. Can't wait to get that. And actually my pre-order comes on Wednesday. So that's super exciting. And the carrot stamp set is it's got a lot of different stuff in it. It has a bunch of carrots. It has 3 different carrots. It has the greenery that goes along with it, and there's a couple really cute sentiments I really, really like. There's also, it's called Adorable Owls, but it is adorable. In fact, an Adorable Owl stamp set, so that's another cute one. And then another thing they recently released is the Timeless Greeting Kit. So they gave me, I was fortunate enough, they gave me the stamp set from that. It comes with envelopes and cards. It has lots of stuff. So actually, if you look at this, it has lots of pieces that you can put together. You can stamp them, different things. There's lots of different components that go with this kit. So it's like a stopwatch. Great for guys. Lots of different pieces that go with it. It has happy birthday, time to celebrate, I can always count on you, thanks. And this one must be inside. You make the world a better place. Really, really cute. So they have this little mini globe and then the clock. And then it also has some other little embellishments that go along. So anyway, it has these nice envelopes. I really like these. And I like the fact that they did put something out that wasn't frilly. Something a little bit masculine or just not super pretty. It has some nice layering pieces with it. Got a lot of nice stuff. So I have 2 of those that I'll be able to make. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these a different time as a kit since I haven't played with it. And then you can always, a lot of times they will give you extra pieces, but you could always use extra pieces for this as well, especially since you have the stamp set. This also does come with a spot in soft suede. So that's another, I'll put this on the side so I don't lose it. And then finally, the other thing I got was this really pretty dry brushed metallic paper. Oops. And this is actually 12 by 12 paper. I wasn't there, so I don't know. I'm assuming they cut it down, but it's really pretty. It has 2 different ones. This one's kind of like a balmy blue, Bermuda-esque pool party. You can see it has a lot of gold flecks in there, and depending on how you look at it is what it looks like, which is really pretty. I'll back this up just a smidge. And then the other one is almost like a Calypso coral, and there's more gold in this one. So the blue has more of the, I think, the foreground color, and then the coral has more of the background gold, rose gold-esque. It's very pretty. It does not have a backing on it. It's a little bit thinner than some of our paper, but I'm sure it is a specialty. But really pretty. I don't think there's a 3rd color, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just 2. So it's really pretty. So that will be in the upcoming catalog. One other thing to share, next month's Paper Pumpkin kit is a mini kit. It has all these little boxes that you could use. So gift card holders, gift holders, you could put cash, probably some little candies, maybe small Little Debbie, like the little brownies, they probably would fit in there. I should actually find out, but they're really cute. Got a lot of coordinating colors. And then that was it. So that's coming soon. Pardon me. And then I wanted to show you. I'm going to take a big drink. Never fails. Don't cough until you actually are doing something. Haven't really coughed that much today. And then this is a card that Melanie made. So if you don't already, Melanie does something called, she does a lot of Paper Pumpkin stuff as well, but it's Melanie's Mischief with Paper. She also is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Ohio. And she does Paper Pumpkin kits. She does lots of different videos. So you can find her here on YouTube as well. So Melanie's Mischief with Paper. So she gave these out, I'm assuming, as her swap. And she was kind enough to share one with me. So this uses the Aspen Dies. And we're going to make one with this as well. So this one is different. Hers is very much kind of spring focused. And she actually used one of, I'm pretty sure this is it, one of the stamp sets that ironically I had out anyway. This is Inspired Thoughts. Now, if you guys remember, this also had a coordinating die set, which I still have in there. but the stamp set carried over, the dies didn't. You can still totally use them, but it's a really nice stamp set because the way the font is for everything, I really love that. So that is what this was based on. And then also the Aspen Dies, which if you were lucky enough, when we had the last celebration, they were giving this out for free. I believe it was a $100 order. So I'm going to show you the card I created. So that's one. And then this is going to be my card. And this is what the card looks like. I'm going to take it out so you can see. It's a little bit easier to see. I did mine as a Thanksgiving style card. So, really pretty. Just uses a couple layers. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining. So you could use this for Thanksgiving. Maybe you need some last minute cards, which is why I'm making another one today. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing. When we did this actually for our stamp club it was 2 weeks ago. No, it was 1 week ago. And this was really difficult when I made the sample. So I'm thinking a lot of the ladies left this off, but I can't recall. But I'm going to show you what it is. This is actually a combo of ribbon. It is crumb cake and old olive. This is in the annual catalog. Excuse me. The only problem was this was a little bit difficult to get to adhere to here, and I couldn't figure out if it was because I didn't put enough glue or whatever the case was. But if you want to add that, I think I'm probably going to skip it this time, but that's what I used. And I just used little pieces. So this uses, have all my pieces here. Yes. And you can see, just like this. Okay. So you really need a base crumb cake, 11 by 4 1/4. You're going to score it at 5 1/2. Then a piece of early espresso, 4 by 5 1/4. We'll go there. And then a piece of So Saffron, 4 by 5 1/4, is actually going to go on the inside. Okay. So I'm going to show you how simple this card is to create. I also have a little scrap for my sentiment, and then I just used some pieces of vellum. So pretty much this is all the dies. The only thing you need to do is just add a sentiment, so that's just of your choice. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to flip this over. What we're going to do is I'm going to start with scoring this. I'm going to score this. Make sure I'm at 4 1/4. Yep. 5 1/2. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I'll do it at the end. I forgot to share with you. I got my November Paper Pumpkin last night in the mail. I'll show you that when we're finished, because I did say that in the title and I forgot. So that had to be scored. Now what you're going to do is get your die cutting machine of choice, we'll say, and we're going to set our Aspen tree dies. I've seen these used a lot of ways, so I'm glad I got these. I don't have the stamp set. I only have the dies. So we're going to just eyeball where we're going to put this. Now, one thing you want to be a little bit careful of when I was helping a couple people is when you use this, you can see mine doesn't really line up exactly. If you're a stickler for these being straight, which mine isn't, that might bother you, but for me, I was just kind of like, it'll be fine. I'm going to put a piece of tape. It more so matters when you're doing your layering piece. So I'm going to die cut this. And then I suppose you could lay this one if you wanted to. Maybe that would make it easier. If you die cut the one, we don't really do things that way in class, so makes it a little bit different. Okay. So then, let me just so I'm going to do it like this to maybe I can make it line up a little bit better. Then we're going to line this up so it's straight. And then we're going to put this on. Now the thing is you want to have this so you're moving it just slightly askew, as you can see, because you can see the crumb cake layer behind there. So that's why you kind of have to go over a little bit maybe, and this may or may not lay straight. But again, it doesn't matter to me. But some of my club members are a little bit newer to making cards, so I think for them, they're always worried it doesn't look exactly right, but they haven't gotten to the point where homemade doesn't always look perfect because it's not made by a machine, right? So we're going to run this through. And when they make cards, most of them do usually turn out some slightly different way, and I always think they look great because some people don't even do what I have laid out, or they'll pick a different sentiment or whatever, and that's fine because I always tell them it's your card. You can make it look however you want it to. So we are going to need to die cut one more time when we do our leaves and vellum, but for now, I'm going to show you this. And this is really pretty simple because all you're doing is die cutting, a bit of blending, and kind of messing up your sentiment a little bit. So let me show you what I mean. So we have this. I'm just gonna crease this. Oh, Mary, you love Paper Pumpkin. You know, I never used to like Paper Pumpkin. I do think they have finally really significantly improved the kits. I've talked about this a lot recently. I've done probably about 6 Paper Pumpkin kits that I had been holding on to for a while. And I think they're actually a lot nicer than I used to think they were. Okay, so a couple things I want to show you. You can do this as much as you want or as little. So when you lay this, you could layer it, but I kind of thought it would be really cool if you just off-centered it a little bit so you have the shadow there. Now you can see how I have this lined up. It is still square, but it's not lining up exactly. So it kind of depends. You can move it to the left or the right. And if you move it to this side and you find you want to trim it, you could just trim it a little bit. So we're not going to put it on yet, but just to give you an idea. Now the other thing I have is a piece of So Saffron. And I'm going to get both of these out. You are going to need pumpkin pie and Poppy Parade. Grab those. Sorry, I have all the beverages here just in case I become desperately thirsty, I guess. So we're going to begin with the pumpkin pie. So I just have an orange-ish blender brush, not pen. And we're just going to pick up some ink. I just recently re-inked this, so I shouldn't need too much. And I'm just going to ink kind of all over. I did try to stay on the lower 2/3. I'll go up just a little bit with the orange, but I'm not going to go up high with the poppy. And same thing again. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining me, Mary. I appreciate it. And Kathy number 2. Kathy with a K and Kathy with a C. All right, so I think that's going to be good. I'm going to close this, but I am going to let it sit here just in case. And then we're going to do Poppy. There you go. One other thing I've noticed coincidentally, that if you re-ink some of the inkers, which I know sometimes we have a little bit of issue with the red inks, and you re-ink it and then you use your blending brush, it kind of breaks up the top, which really seems to press the ink in a little bit more. So if you're having issues with that, once you've re-inked it and you've pressed it in with your spoon and you let it sit for a little bit, run over it with your blender brush. That seems to help a lot. All right, so I think that's good enough. I really had that problem with Poppy and with Mango, which I really like Mango, so that kind of makes me sad. So there, it's basically supposed to look like the sun, the fall sunset. Oh, you know what? I think that needs a little bit more red. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to go over this a little bit more up here. So this was the pumpkin. But the starting with the saffron gives a really nice base color. And again, as much or as little as you want, just kind of depends. That looks nice. Okay, so I'm going to just put adhesive here and put this one on. And kind of just trying to make sure this one will fit, because regardless, you're going to have your nice trimmed edge there. But I just want to make sure that I get some in the center. Not a ton. So we'll put some here, little corner. Okay. And make sure I have the correct side. Very proud of myself because I actually thought of this card on my own. Sometimes you all know I do a little casing from Pinterest. I actually thought of this idea 100% on my own. So proud. Okay. And I think this time, let's see. I'm trying to see how I want this to be. No, I must just like things shadowed to the left. So I'm going to trim just a hair off of this. I'm going to go with about, I don't want to cut it too close. I'm going to stick with 1/8 for now. Let's see. Yeah. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm just going to take 1/8 off. Just so it's somewhat symmetrical. It's going to have a little bit of a thinner border, which is okay. But again, you don't really even have to do this if you don't want to. I don't know, I kind of almost like it to the other side now. No, we're going to stick with that. Okay, so with this one, I am going to be careful because I want to make sure that it stays lined up top and bottom. But remember, you're gluing to an entire back panel, so it's not like there's anything that's going to fall off because the back here is solid as well. So we're just going to add a little bit here. Super thin border there. I just don't want to get too far. Doesn't need a ton. Just so the majority of it sticks. Oops, you get my drift. Because I did do something additional aside from that. So, very carefully. If I were a betting woman, I'll say that's probably my dad. He was going to come up today and watch the Ravens game with us, but I told him that Rainbow Stamper wasn't feeling very well. So, I don't know. Could be calling. There we go. So that looks pretty good. So, additionally, one other thing you can do. And where are they? I am super fond of these jelly roll pens. You can get these on Amazon or probably at your local craft store. And what I did is I added a lot of white to the openings underneath. I had some that were the white gel pens, but man, they dry out so fast. It's just crazy town. So I'm just going to make sure this one's working. And I'm just going to add some of these in. So there's, when you see this in person, you may not be able to see it on here, but there are little spots on here where it has some embossing in addition to the die cutting that it does. So I'm just taking this and going over kind of those white spots, and then I'm also filling it a little bit underneath. I thought it kind of looked cool because it gives a little bit more depth to your die cutting. And go like that. Let's see, a couple more. You can do these as much, again, as much or as little as you like, but it gives a little, kind of something extra. And I think there was a couple. There we go. Here. Oh, one more. Okay, so not a ton, but excuse me. These are the times I wish I could give you a mute button so you didn't have to listen to me. That's what YouTube needs to come up with, a muting button. Or some elevator music we can play in the background. All right, so I had already added adhesive sheet to the back of this vellum. So I'm just going to cut 2 of these leaves out. These are also from the Aspen Dies. Hi, Mary Ellen. Thanks for joining. You all have your Thanksgiving shopping all wrapped up, I hope. Because I went early this morning and thinking it was early. And boy, were there a lot of people out at 8:30. Which around here is kind of early, especially on a Sunday. But apparently, I guess everybody else had the same idea. All right, I'm going to use my piercing tool. This is an old piercer. So the cool part about this is, hopefully you can see that, it embosses as it die cuts, which is really cool. I'm going to show you one other thing you can do here. And I'm just using residual ink from the blending brush. Just add a little bit of something. Doesn't really have to be anything specific. You can use whichever colors you like. So that was a little bit of poppy, little orange. I'm going to bring in a teeny bit of soft suede. Okay. And I'm going to leave this out. I'm going to do my sentiment in that. All right, so cool part. All you have to do is peel off the backing from the adhesive sheet. You have little vellum stickers. Excuse me, which makes it way easier to put your vellum pieces on. You don't have to worry about strategically hiding it because the whole thing has vellum. Now, one thing you want to do is take your bone folder, and I tend to press into a certain couple spaces. It doesn't really matter if the whole thing doesn't stick. And I'll do the same here. Might have to start at the other end. Here's Dragway Sunday here. Okay, and I'll put this one down here. Again, I'm just kind of pressing to adhere. And we're going to have a strip that we're going to stamp, so it doesn't have to be fully pressed. And also with your vellum, you'll notice you can't see some of it once you take the backing off, so it's really doesn't necessarily need to be done. It's just if you want to, you can. This one, ironically enough, I had stamped something that I guess I was going to die cut, so I really went heavy on the brown here because I was trying to cover up the words. You can still see them under there if you look. All right, and I'm going to use, what did I do with my little stamp set? Here it is. Inspired Thoughts. Let's see. I think I'm going to make this a sympathy card because unfortunately we always need those and we never, I don't like to make them ahead of time. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I feel like if I make one, I'm going to need it. So I try not to make too many, but unfortunately I do need one. So to test that. All right. This is a great stamp set because it has a beautiful font. Very clean. I'm going to keep this out because I'm going to show you something else I'm going to do. So we're going to trim this down significantly, and I'm just going to use my scissors just to trim it a little bit. That looks good. And I know one side's bigger than the other, but that's okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and just run on the edge here. It's so windy out today too. And I'm just gonna run the edge here because I'm trying to get this little piece to peel apart. As you can see, I kind of ripped it up there at the end. Looks really cool. Man, how about all that snow they got in New York State? Holy moly. I mean, we would love some snow, but my goodness, 70 inches at once. That's a lot. I feel for them. Said, if I'm not mistaken, I heard it was lake effect snow, which is just crazy. So I'm really kind of getting the ends here because I want to be able to pull this up just a little bit. So I kind of just really work at the ends, stick your finger in there, and I kind of almost make like a little corner up. And that's what I want. Just kind of rough it up. All right. So move these two things over. Oh, for the first time. Thank you, Carol. Oh, first time catching me live. Yeah, I haven't been very much live lately, so thanks for joining. So I still have ink on here. I'm just going to do double duty by cleaning off my stamp a little bit and inking up my blending brush. And I'm going to just kind of hit the end. I want a little bit all over, not too much. I do really want to hit the end. I'm going to show you one other thing you could do too. Like the way some of the demonstrators change it up, getting bored, do the same one over and over again. Yeah, no kidding. That is true. I feel like right now everybody did fitting florets, and I'm going to be honest with you, wasn't really a fan of it. I did buy the paper because I thought the paper was really pretty, but wasn't in love with the stamp set. So since everybody else is doing fitting florets, I'm doing something different. It's like everywhere you turn now, fitting florets. Yep, we see it. It's there. Okay, so maybe you don't have these. This is another cool idea that you can do, is you can dip the end in. We did this with something else we did recently. Actually, I'll show you. And then you'll get like a nice edge to it. Looks really old. So I'm going to give that a second to dry, and I'm going to show you something else I did. This is completely unrelated to this card. This is for, I'm sure some of you saw this. If I can find it. These, which were super cute. This is the tree rings. This is also another one I bought the dies in the folder, but I did not buy the stamp set. But if you die cut these tree rings and you put them together, what you can do is you take your die and then you roll it, and it gives you like a darker edge. So it almost looks like you have 3 different ink colors. Now you could certainly go crazy. You could have rolled this one as well, but I think it's such a cool technique. Just roll in your ink. So really gives like a darkness to it, which I think is super cool. Could you cut the trees? Yes, that was another thing I was going to say. As a matter of fact, I have seen a couple cards where people, you have to run it through more than once because they're not really very big, but you could trim them. And then you can put them on the front of a card. If I can get through this without hacking my brains out, I will show you what I mean. I'll see if I can pull another one really quickly. And I'm looking for twine, but I don't see. I must have used all of my tan. So I'm just going to make a little a black bow would be kind of morbid. Never mind. Scratch that. How about instead, because we do have in that, oh, here it is. I was going to say, when you get the Baker's Twine pack, it's a neutral pack, so you do get a lot of them. So I'm actually going to use 2 pieces. Yeah, I mean, it's already bad someone passed away. I don't think adding a black ribbon on there is probably going to be too keen. And let's see if I can tie this without. Tell you what, ever since I had my, I had those dip nails put on, which looked cute, and they really lasted a super long time. I am having trouble with getting, because I didn't go get them taken off. I just did it the Rachel way and took it off myself. Ugh, hold on. I'll talk while I do this. And I haven't been able to get my nails to grow out well enough that I can grip anything with my fingernails, because I'm like the fingernail puller queen of, here, let me open that with my fingernails for you. And next time I will go get them taken off. That's the point of my story. Okay, so we're going to switch this up. Instead of doing the other ribbon, I'm just going to put a little bow. Bring these together. and trim. There you go. All right, so a little tiny. So I'm going to put this on with some dimensionals. We probably could use a little bit of color. So now I'm rethinking the fact I think I am actually going to put just a little bit of this, the old olive underneath. And I'm just going to do just one instead of the two. It's kind of hard to get to stick. So I'm going to put two. Just put a piece like this. It's nice and long. I have plenty of it, so Lord knows I can use it. I should have gone this way. No, we'll just flip it like this. There we go. Okay, so one thing I usually do is when I do these, is that the right way? Maybe I did this. Come on, Rach, what are you doing? It's been so long since you've been live, you don't know what you're doing. I'm going to cut these this way because I blonded that up there. There we go. That's, I don't know, maybe I just did the reverse of what I already had. Who knows? I'm going to use a mini glue dot, and I'm going to hook these together, and then I'm going to put them on with dimensionals. So I'm going to do one. Sometimes these buggers don't stick unless you really poke them on there. There's one. I think this is the problem I ran into last time. I couldn't get them to stick to the ribbon. Yep, okay, and two. Let's see. Just, I gotta remember, gotta do this so people can see. Put it like that. Kind of spread it apart. Yeah, I think I still goofed that up, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna grab some dimensionals. Put them on the back of my sentiment, which is gonna in turn hold these on. And, oops, I'm gonna use several because this is a pretty wide piece. One more. 4. Okay. Backings. All right. And then I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue because I need this to stick and I need this to stick here. So let's just take a peek. Where do I want this? Like that, like that. I'm going to put some glue here. This is the part that took long because I put glue and I didn't hold it as long as I should have held it. And I think that's why it got a little stupid. A little bit here. Here we go. You're all ready. You got your shopping done on Friday. Oh, good for you. I have 2 Marys, Minnesota Mary and Washington, and Montana Mary. Wow, Mary, it's a popular time for you guys to watch, huh? Carol's watching from Canada. Thank you. Kathy S., thank you very much. Your godson lives in another part of Buffalo and they only got 6. That is hilarious. Oh my goodness gracious, Kathy. That's just too funny. Could you imagine 6 inches or 70 inches? You're like, well, it's going to be a toss-up. We don't know what you're going to get today. All right, so I'm going to hold this for a second just so everything dries, and then we'll add on our other little ribbon. That's just cuckoo. And meanwhile, Blondie here, I told Christian, I'm like, yeah, 70 inches would be taller than our house. Not exactly. Come on, Rach. You know your measurements. You're a little better than that, silly. All right, so I'm going to put this little bow onto a mini glue dot, and I'm going to put it over here. Since we have a lot of space on this side, it's a little bit crooked, but okay. So because I put so much stuff on there with the ribbon and the vellum and whatnot, and you probably could put a little bit of this up. I'm going to show you one other thing you could do while you're holding this. You could even, if you wanted to, have the leaves just peel up just slightly, just kind of manipulating your vellum. Ooh, not to ripping it. That's a little much, Rachel. Yep, that's on. The rest of it's on there. I'm getting a little silly. So using, I'm going to press this a little bit more because I feel it's still a little wonky. But using adhesive sheet really is amazing for the vellum. I mean, it's a great tip for if you're worried about your vellum sticking. So I think this is nice just because, nice sunset card again. Grateful, great Thanksgiving card. I did use the jelly roll. I'm just going to do that while I'm holding this one here. I'm going to highlight a couple more of these little places. And I think it looks super cute. So thinking of, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about if we were doing this in with the trees removed. So here's my thought. I don't know if it would be better to have white with dark, which I kind of think it would. White with dark. I'm gonna try that really quickly. I'm gonna let this sit here for a moment and dry. Let me put a couple of these things away while I'm organizing my thought of what I want to do. Oh my gosh. Stuck myself with a pin a lot. Kind of hurt. I'm gonna get out the navy. Put these away. Put the cap on this so I don't lose it. Scissors. I'm gonna leave those out. We're gonna try this. I'm gonna put this in here. And this can stay there for a minute. All right. Where is it? I'm gonna try this. See what we can do with this. With a quickie. No, I'm just gonna pull out a half sheet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it twice out of navy. I'm just gonna go ahead and trim this down to 4 inches because I don't really need, pretty sure 4 will work. Maybe I should check before I cut. Caramba, where is it? Here it is. I'm gonna measure this. Yeah. I don't even think it needs 4, probably 3 3/4. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Put that on the side. I'm going to die cut this twice. If you ever have the problem where these are stuck, I use my other plate to scrape it. But I want to tell you one other thing. My other stamping friend Amy told me, and I'm hoping I'm saying this right, is that she puts wax paper, I think that's what she said, underneath, like puts a layer here, and it keeps your plates from cutting up as badly. So I'm going to cut this twice. One. And I'm just going to cut the same one. Since we're just going to use the inside, I'm just going to cut it again. And the only reason I did it twice is because I kind of thought you might need more than one set of trees. I could be wrong. But, let's see. Pop these out. Just get rid of most of this. Ooh, this is a good idea coming in my head. We'll see if it works or not. So I'm going to cut here. So I'm just kind of trimming where I think the base would be. And here. My watch is telling me to move. Doesn't it know I'm crafting? I'm not moving. Okay. Okay. And we're going to, let's see, gotta get the rest of these out. so we have that. This one, I might trim a little bit here. All right, this is definitely not planned, so it could turn out terribly. Only time will tell. All right, there's those two. Hi, Becky. Thank you for joining. Anyone who notices and thinks maybe you're listening to the silent stamper, I do have a cold, so I'm trying not to talk quite as much because it makes me cough. And I'm just trimming around. Now this one I'm going to take a little farther because this one kind of looks like a palm tree. Just kind of trying to cut to the bottom so we have some actual trunks. We're doing this live by viewer request about could you use these as trimmed. So we're just doing a bonus card right now, just in case you're just joining us. Okay, here's another one. This was our original card. This was our first. This was our card that we created first. And I'm just going to continue trimming around for these. We'll see what we can come up with. Okay. All right, and I'm going to just cut these apart again. Okay. So I feel like we kind of would need to slim some of these out, so let's do this. So I have one that's already kind of shaped like that, and we're going to just trim this. Maybe I'll leave these two together. This one I'm going to just trim the extra branches off of on the one side. We'll see what we can do. Okay. Just trying to take a little bit of the curve off so these don't look like they necessarily were curved. All right, so let me move these. We have some trees here. We have some still intact, some taller than others, some shorter than others. Let me just clean this off really quickly. All right, and then I'm gonna grab, looking for some thick white. Let's see, is this thick white? Nope. All right, that feels like thick white. Thick white. Oh, thanks, Carol. That's so kind. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. I definitely am a person who thinks and actually gets ideas while I craft live. So that's why sometimes you think you're getting one thing and it turns out to be something completely different, which is kind of nice. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sharon. Yeah, I am nothing if I am not real. That is for sure. I'm not a sugarcoater. I have always been, unfortunately, known as the Queen of Blunt. Which I guess is a good or a bad thing, depending. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This is my thought. If we do a dark, now granted, we're going to have to kind of trim some of this, and I have seen an idea. We probably would have to have a sentiment that ran along the bottom to kind of get it to work correctly. But what if, and I don't know what this is going to look like, but what if we have this as our base? We have another white panel, and we do it kind of like a purpley bluish like background. So let me try that. Hold on. I need another piece of cardstock. Let's see. Let's see what this looks like. So we're going to go with 5 1/4 by 4. That way, if it doesn't work, we still have a base to use. So we're going to move on to, let's see, Night of Navy. We also, oh, you know what? Starry Sky would probably be nice. And maybe Orchid Oasis. Let's try that. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to start with Orchid because technically that's theoretically the lightest color, even though it's purpley. But we do kind of want purpley, so we're going to do that first. Might have been nice to do this actually on Orchid Oasis because then we could see what it would look like. That might have been a good idea, but let's see. This might just take a little bit more blending. And it's going to be really dark at the bottom, so just make a little bit more up here. All right, so that's Orchid. Now we'll move on to Starry, which was just re-inked. So I'm going darker, so that's why I'm using the same brush. You can see how wet that one was. Oh, yeah, this will be nice and dark. Bring a little bit up here. So you could probably use this for a nice winter birthday card, Christmas card, if you feel like it. Again, you could start with purple. That would probably give you a nice darker thing overall. And once I get down here at the bottom, I'm going to have dark fingers because I'm going to end up inking it everywhere. Oh, I just had another really good idea. But I don't know if it's going to make it to this. Let's see. All right, let me bring this down. I'm going to, what do I have? I have to have something. There's so much stuff here. There we go. I'm going to use that. I'm just trying to keep my fingers from mucking up the back. So I'm going to use that wrapper from that DSP I showed you at the beginning. In case you missed it, you can go back and look. Okay, so this is going to be our darker end. So now I'm going to go in with the navy. It's always fun when it turns out to be something completely unplanned. You got that right. That's the story of my life. Used to be able to craft like that before I went back to work. That was kind of what we did all the time. I was like the queen of stamping on the fly as you go. All right, so it's definitely much darker. I want to just blend this up a little bit. Okay. Now, 2 things you could do. So I'm just going to give you a little. You could either use your white craft ink and add a little water to it. I'm going to use that again for the sentiment. Don't know why I put that away. A little white craft ink. I'm trying to think how this is going to go now because I wanted it to be a little bit, that turned out a lot darker than I anticipated it to look like. Yeah, it's okay though. What we're going to do is going to work. Okay, you have 2 choices. You could either use white craft ink refill. I don't know if I have any water in here. Let's see. I'm going to go like this. Multi-purpose. And I need another cough drop. I feel like I'm going to start hacking. I have some water in a spray bottle here. I'm just gonna, gotta turn it on. Okay. I don't know if that was too much, too little. Find out in a minute. And I'm using an old paintbrush. Oh, it's crispy. All right, I'm gonna try this. Move this over here so it's not messy. Oh, iPad. Gonna have to wipe my iPad off. Luckily, this is water soluble. Holy moly. Okay. I feel like it needs a couple. Okay, now one other thing. I'm going to put this on the side because I might still use this. This needs to dry for just a minute. I'm going to put this into the garbage. I'm going to try to very quickly and ungracefully wipe my iPad off just a little bit, so don't mind me. I'll clean it up later, but at least it's not dried on there. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue these on in various places. I'm going to do a little extra trimming. This does dry pretty quickly, as you can see. Excuse me, that was a craft ink refill. And I have an idea for the bottom, so bear with me. I see they're floating in space, but see before I put these down. Could even put some of these up on dimensionals, would be cool. So this is hanging over. I'm just going to trim that. Since this looks the same, I'm going to cut this so it doesn't. Okay. Put that. I think I'll put that on the edge over here. Can always trim. We'll bring it down a little lower as well. These are super obvious that they are very similar to this. I might not use these. I might use this instead. Yep. It's funny how trees look so different with leaves versus not. You were talking about that today because we have a ton of trees. I know I've told you guys that before with having the pool and everything. And, man, when those leaves are off, it looks empty back there. You can see everything in the neighbor's yard. So we also have a lot of kind of scrubby leaves. Okay. And I feel like I want to use just, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna have to make a sacrifice here. Just for the side. Yep. Okay. Snowman tag cards. I wonder if maybe you're confusing me with Rachthestamper, because I don't think I made a snowman tag, did I? Or was that something I put on my paper pumpkin? And believe me, being confused with Rachthestamper isn't a bad thing. She's extremely creative. So we have our trees. Now what I'm going to do is take my larger scissors. I'm going to just trim down right here. Okay, got that. Now, I kept this because, there's my little thing again. I'm gonna have to move my iPad back. I feel like since we have snow in the background, we might need a little bit of snow on these trees as well. So, whoops. So that's why I kept this. So I'm just gonna give it a swirl. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. Same thing. Yeah, poor iPad. That's okay. I'll clean it up afterwards. All right, there's that. I'm just gonna do one more little swipe. Pardon my arm again. Okay, now, one other thing. You still have your Jelly Roll pen. I'm going to give this a second, but I might do a little bit of touching up a couple spaces, like adding a little bit of a snow collection on a couple of these. That makes sense? And then we're going to do one more thing down here on the bottom. So definitely want to take the time to put these little detail parts in here. So it kind of gives your scene a little bit more of a snowy look. So it kind of fills in your ambiance or image that you're going with here. Might not be a card you're going to make for 8,000 people, let's be real, but maybe somebody really special, maybe a couple select friends or family members. I'm going to do the little notchy parts that I told you about earlier. Like so. Okay, and maybe some of you guys have this. Maybe you don't. Let me just look in here though. Hopefully I have it over here. Yep, I have my border dies. Maybe you remember these. We had these for clouds. I'm going to use this. I'm just going to make a little stitch snowbank and put on there with that other piece of white. And here it is. Nope, that's the card base, Reach. Come on. Well, needless to say, hold on, I'm going to find a piece. So I'm going to take this, and as soon as I locate that daggone piece of white, I know it was here a second ago. Maybe I put it away for a change. You never know. Crazier things have happened. So I'm going to just use this piece here that I have of white, and I'm going to cut out a little snowbank, and then we'll trim it to fit. So I'm going to do it like this, because I can always make it shorter. Okay, so that is the decorative, I believe it's decorative labels dies. No, basic border dies. Okay, so it only cut off the end. So we're going to put this here. We can always bring it down some. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put it on and we're going to trim. But before, how about we might as well just use this as our sentiment spot. So if we go like this, trying to think, let's see. We have about this much. We're going to take off at the bottom. So I'm going to do a little pencil line. And this, so you can see right here. Just want to make sure I put my sentiment above that. And I'm going to use, because I really like this one, maybe we can figure out something that'll work. No worries, Carol. It's okay. I'll take her compliments any day. She is very creative. I think I'm going to go with Merry Christmas, really simple, and then we'll put this on the inside. So here's this. Rachel did some super, if it is the one I'm thinking of, she did some super cute stuff with Paper Pumpkin. I can't remember what kit it was. Man, she made so many extra cards. It was just crazy ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to put my Merry Christmas kind of down here at the bottom. right, and I'm going to pick this one up, if I dare. Let's see. Put this here, scoot this over. I'm going to try to do this inside without goobering it up. Okay, yeah. Oh, my navy ink needs to be adjusted a little bit, but that's okay. Pretty good considering. All right, so here's my inside. So I'm going to put this on. And I think just for something, I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. If I can locate where I put them. Here we go. And since this is a rather large piece, I'm going to put a good amount on here, okay? And I'm going to put a little teeny piece down here on the end because I don't want that to like flop. Oops. There's my little piece. I will say one other thing that I think Rachthestamper is extremely relaxing to listen to. She's a very, very relaxing stamper. She doesn't seem to get upset, bothered, frazzled. If she does a great job of covering it up. So I'm going to use this. Since I did, I'm going to just cut right on the line. Get rid of that. Luckily, I cut off that little pencil mark, so that looks pretty good. And before, I'm just going to kind of eyeball this before I really press. There. Yeah, looks good. So let me take the backings off. Snowmen and tags on the front, base cut in half, top removed. Yep, that was probably her. Thank you, Debbie. That was so kind. Nice to see you all, too. Thank you guys for stopping unexpectedly to see me here, so appreciate that. Gonna go like that. Just trying to make sure it lines up. For the most part, I have this little teeny piece falling off, but that's okay. And I'm going to just trim just this little smidgy poo off. There we go. This probably could use a teeny bit extra bit of glue here, so I'm just going to put a little piece on my card and then just press to hold that. Now, we have Wink of Stella you could add to this, but I kind of feel like I don't want to like overdo it because sometimes I go there and I really don't intend to. Again, I used the Jelly Roll pen to add in some white in like a couple different places. If this bothers you with the trees, it shouldn't, because trees do have to come to an end at some point, right? But if you don't like it, you could certainly cut them all off there. But the other cool thing is, if you wanted to, and if I had more time, the other thing that would be neat is if you took a couple of these and maybe did the die cut with the foam adhesive sheet, the big sheets, and pop some of these up. That would be really cool. So even like popping something up in the front, oh, that would be kind of neat right there. Popping something extra. Oh, God, I can't resist. I think I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to take it to another level once again. Where is... Here we go. Let's see. What do I have here? What do I have? What do I have? Yep, I'm going to do it. Can't leave it alone. So these are foam adhesive sheets. So the whole entire sheet is adhesive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of line this up to the side. I feel like it is right here. Is this it? Or is it over here? Let me see. I want to find out where it is because I don't want to overcut a piece. Must be this one. Oh, is it backwards? No. Skinny piece. There's a skinny one. It's got to be this one. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's this piece here. There it is. It's this. Okay, I just wanted to know before I did. So I'm going to put this kind of sideways like this. And I'm going to hold this one the best I can. And I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. Just like this. Because I did the extremely scientific method of eyeballing it. So same thing again. I'm going to just put this on here. Hopefully I can fit. Yep, it'll fit all on there perfectly. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Hold on, you'll see this in 1 second. It's slippery because it does have the release tape on both sides. Okay. And let's see. I'm going to pop this out. So here's this. You can use this for something else. You don't have to throw it away. Ooh, my only thing is, now we have all these little strips. You know what I need to do is just put it on here to cut it. Okay. All right. Where am I? Here and here. So I do have to go all the way over. So I'm just going to grab. You probably think I'm crazy, but all these pieces will stick, so you might as well save them. So I'm going to cut this. Cut around. Just like that. You can use the whole rest of this for something else. And then, where do we have here? What did I say I was going to do? These two? Yep, okay. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, I'm going to peel this. And carefully as I can, line. Oops. If you put liquid glue, it'll make this easier, but I'm just trying not to make this take forever. If you really wanted to go the extra mile, you could even color the side of this. Since I cut this part off, I gotta get rid of this little branch. Just gonna poke through. I'm gonna use my piercer so I don't get my scissors totally gunked beyond recognition. And then I'm gonna just take this Kathy, weren't you just talking about cleaning scissors? Isn't that funny? Here we go. All right, so I'm just gonna press and make sure this goes. It's gonna kind of give you almost that look of like, you know, when the wind is blowing in the snow because it's off-centered. Again, you could probably, for those who this is gonna bother, where is it? I'm gonna, ooh, do we not have? Here we go. Night of Navy Stampin' Blend. I'm just gonna look and see if this will do one side. I don't know if it'll work or not, but why not? Oh, look at that. You can take your Night of Navy. I'm not gonna do this for both because it would be super time consuming. We'll just do it on one side. Try to do it over here. Your Stampin' Blend. Very carefully, because you don't want to bust up your ink just for one little thing. And I'm just kind of sticking to one side. That way it does look believable what I'm saying about the wind blowing from the east, right? Coloring that side. Looks good. Good enough for me. That was the dark Night of Navy. I'm going to take the release paper off of the back. Everything looks like it's out. This one little tree has a little bit missing, but that's okay. And then I'm going to just go in. Just a couple little spots. I missed this little spot here. Just put a little bit of... do a little fixing. Probably should have done one other little thing before I pull this apart, but it's a little bit too late now because I think, let's see. Nope, there it is, one. Forgot to pull these little tiny patches of the release paper off. There we go. Okay, I think that's it. So there you go. So let me go back and look and see who said that. Making the cards. Could you do the cards? Mary, thanks for that idea, Mary. This card turned out fabulously. I just want to poke this little thing out real quick before I put this away. So let me clean up here and I will show you what we did with the 3 finished cards. I do like to do that. Sometimes I forget to kind of make it look like nice and clean again. So let me just get rid of this. Move this over. Oopsie. Okay, here we go. So this was the one we just created. That was using, again, the Aspen Tree dies. Also used the decorative border dies to make that little snowbank. This was, oh, look, here's that piece I couldn't find. This is the original card, and here it is. And this is the one we made originally also there. And then, where's my other one? And the other hand, here it is. This is Melanie's card. Kathy, you know Melanie. Melanie put this for me in my box that she picked up from OnStage for me. So it was super kind of her. So there are just some ideas. Let me move this in case you don't have any ideas for that really cool Aspen. So this uses mostly the die. I did use the leaves for this part. And oh, didn't put it onto a background, Blondie. Hold on. Good Lord, losing it. I mean, it looks nice, but I don't think anybody would want just a postcard. Who knows? Maybe they would. And there it is, because I did put the sentiment on the inside there. I'm like, why is there an extra base card over here? No, it's your card, silly. This, if you want to use it again, you can always spritz it with a little bit more water. Great, you can use that. If you don't, you can just wipe it. I use a lot of just cheapy microfiber cloths here. I'm going to take this, rinse it with some water, rinse it off, good as new. Excuse me. Same with my paintbrush. I'll just clean this off when I'm done. So let me move these couple little thingamajiggies out of the way. Again, I used Inspired Thoughts for my sentiment. I used Framed and Festive for this sentiment. I used the Aspen dies for the background for these leaves for these guys here. I think that's it. And then basic border dies I used for that there. So I thank you all so very much for taking time out of your Sunday to join me. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and friends, whoever it is you're going to see, or just sitting by yourself and having some turkey with your feet up if that's what you're going to do. And I hope that you all stay warm wherever you are. If you like this video, which I'm hoping you did, please do 3 things for me. They're totally free. Give me a thumbs up. If you're not already, subscribe and click the notification button so you are turned on for notifications. I'm going to check my words here just to make sure nobody left me another comment before we roll off. And also share it with a friend, because I'm almost to 5,000 subscribers. I'm really a little bit shy of 5,000. So if you would share it, that would be hugely helpful. It doesn't cost you any money to do any of those things. So I would totally, really, really appreciate those things if you could do those. And if you don't have time to do it now, I totally understand. Thank you all very much for watching me. If you'd like to get any of the supplies to make these, you can visit my online store, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. It's open 24/7. You can get in there in your pajamas or your ball gown, as I say. Another thing is we are going to have the retiring list coming out. Actually, I think it's already out for the holiday catalog. There are 2 things that I know are sold out. The Witch Hat Punch is definitely sold out. Let me take a drink. The Lights of Globe paper is definitely sold out. And there's something else. Oh, I should have, I thought I put a note on it. Nope, I didn't. I'm sorry. There's one other thing that's sold out, but I cannot remember what it is at the moment. But anyway, there's lots of stuff on there. Some of it is on sale, some of it's not on sale. But basically, once it's retired, it is not going to make it into another catalog. So if you want to get it, you're probably better off getting it sooner than later, because once it sells out, it's gone for good. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay warm and have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.